All right, it is 6:43 and I call meeting to order. The purpose of this annual meeting is to go over each of the 8 articles that have been properly warned. Is there a motion to consider Article 1? At any time you are going to make or second a motion, please rise and state your name so that our recorder can get it into the minutes, please.
Mark Joppa.
Mark Joppa.
Excuse my notes, but I move pursuant to 16 VSA Section 706J that the treasurer of Union Central Super.
The way that Article 1 is stated specifically in the warning is just to elect a treasurer for 1 year. So if you would like to nominate somebody for the position of treasurer for 1 year, then
I would like to do that.
okay. Who would you like to nominate?
The current treasurer of the Union Central Supervisory Union.
Oh, okay, I see. All right.
The position may change with staffing. I would like to designate that role.
I see. Okay. And I apologize. Thank you. I didn't understand that. Is there a second?
Second, Brian Donahue.
All right, Brian Donahue. Thank you. And so, Mr. Andrews, just a quick question. We are clear the requirement that that person be a voter of one of the districts that position will always be filled. Yeah.
Not required.
Not a requirement.
Oh, it's not? Okay, so we were misinformed last time. All right, very well. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we will move to a vote. All those in favor of making the treasurer of the CCSU the treasurer for the Essex Westford Educational Community Unified Union School District number 51, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and Article 1 carries. Moving along to Article 2, to hear and act upon the reports of the Unified Union School District, number 51, officers and the Board of School Directors. Is there a motion to hear the reports?
Please.
So we don't have pre-printed motions here. I'm sorry, we don't have pre-printed reports here. So the 4 people who are, I believe there are 4, will read them from their places as long as their microphones are working. If not, you're free to come up here. So who would like to volunteer to go first?
I'm going to go first.
All right, Ms. Heath.
I don't, this project, it's just going to record, so.
Okay, very well.
So I'm Martha Heath and I am chair of the new Unified Union School District Board. I wanted to tell you that the board met for its 5th time last night. Our first 2 meetings were board retreats where we talked about the roles and responsibilities of the board and things like what we believe the purpose of education is. From there, we moved on to creating a work plan, identifying task teams, and we have hired a project manager who is going to help our 2 superintendents manage the work, and it's considerable work, of transitioning to a new district. So each superintendent is responsible for specific areas of work, and the project manager, whose name is Brian French, will coordinate that work. Brenda?
So one of the things that we wanted to address is that there is some confusion in the community about the status of the Unified District and its role. And it's important for folks to remember that during this interim period as we're establishing the new district. The existing boards, the existing structures are still in place, and so parents, members of the community should continue to go to those boards to have issues addressed or to give feedback. The primary work of the unified district and of the board is to work with the superintendents and our project manager to establish the district. So starting July 1st, 2017, you can take all your issues to us. In the meantime, we are encouraging members of the community and parents to continue to work with their local school boards until that time. Keely?
We come together. We're a team.
I'm Keely Shell, and this is Liz Subin, and we are the Communications Task Force, which is one of the first things that we have to do as a board, is to communicate what we're doing and take input so that we continue doing the right things that represent the community's interests for education. One thing that we've done so far is to set up a web page, and I think you have all of the controlling implements. So we have a web page which is most easily accessible at ewsd.org. Essex Westford School District is what EWSD stands for, saves you a lot of letters. And on this you can find mention of upcoming meetings, agendas, minutes from past meetings, as well as if you'll scroll back up to the top and we can just see what the pages are. You can find a little bit of information on the background of the board in that tab, along with a handy picture. The contact tab gives you all of our names so that you can spell our email addresses, and also farther down the contact information for the boards that Brendan was mentioning if you aren't sure what your current board is. And finally, the latest page is a calendar, which is not very robust right now, but you can click on upcoming events. And, okay. Very unrobust.
That's a good segue. You wanted me to talk about the upcoming event.
Blogspot has changed their security, so that might be a glitch today. That was done yesterday, so we've been watching. Things have been.
It worked for me yesterday, so it'll work for you
tomorrow.
Trust me, there's something there.
Glitches. Good.
Thanks, Kelly. So the other thing our team has been working on is the figuring out of the Nellie Mae grant that we received. And just some background, the new district has received a $30,000 grant from the Nellie Mae Foundation in partnership with Great Schools Partnership to work in our community to try to improve on the way that public engagement happens in our community. This particular grant is all about building our capacity as a district to work with our community and be as inclusive as possible as we work with our community to figure out what matters most to us. That's the nuts and bolts of the Nellie Mae grant. So the grant was received and the meetings have begun. Last week, our technical assistance team, which is Sue McCormick and Alex Cartagena, who are senior associates with Everyday Democracy, held a series of in-school meetings last week and met with teachers and students at all of the buildings and all of the schools in this district, and are beginning to build their what they need to inform the work going forward. So this was the first set of meetings. They were informal, and they're beginning to theme that and figure out what we share about moving forward. Next week, they will continue these meetings. They're going to be more in-depth meetings with 3 target populations, and those will be teachers, students, and family members, community members, trying to engage more deeply about the educational future in this community and what people hope and dream for this community. Also next week is our first big community engagement event on May 11th. Viewers, please join us. It's a 2-part meeting. The first part, and will be facilitated by our technical assistance team. Sue and Alex will spend the first part of the meeting, again, around hopes and dreams and really trying to inform our board about what matters to the community so we can make decisions that matter, that are meaningful to the people who live and work here. So that's May 11th at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8 in the cafeteria right here at the high school. Please join us. And the second part of that meeting is going to be focused on proficiency-based grading requirements and specifically the changes in assessment and grading systems in the high school, what that's going to look like, and a conversation around why we're changing that system and what that could look like. A little bit of an overlap with the U46 board work and the new union board. Please understand there are a lot of buckets right now while we figure this out, and it's all in the interest of making ourselves a unified school district, and it requires a lot of overlap. And that's what's happening with the grant. Just again, you can find information will be hosted on this site. We are doing this work in May, and then in the fall we'll come together with a coalition. And to the viewers who are not in the room tonight, we would invite you to please be in touch with us about becoming part of that coalition that will work to work with the community in the fall on 4 really in-depth conversations around, again, hopes and dreams for the. Please stay tuned, all you viewers out there, and we'll be in touch.
I feel like we should clap.
All right.
Vince, could you talk up the guiding principle? Thank you. So Martha had mentioned that we had a couple of retreats to start off our work, and we talked about our values and the values around education in our community. We looked at the work of the Heart and Soul, the study committees, surveys, and we wanted to start talking together around what this means for us. But when we did that, we also then identified some themes, and with that, we thought, let's turn these themes into the questions that we're going to be filtering a lot of these big decisions through. The administration will be bringing us recommendations, and it's fair for them to know where our mindset is around the pieces that are most important to make sure are met in the decisions that are made. So those 5 questions, the first being, does the decision deliver on the community expectations and values identified in the Articles of Agreement for the Unified Union? Is the decision based on substantive evidence, and can the results be measured? Does the decision promote organizational stability, student-centered learning, and a focus on transferable skills, including creativity, innovation, and citizenship? Does the decision help to maintain safe learning environments for students, staff, and school visitors? And is the decision clearly articulated and the result of a transparent process? So for various pieces of the decision process that's going to happen, some of these questions may be more or less relevant, but it is the lens through which we're going to be looking at all of this big structural consideration as we determine it's not necessarily just one or the other. What's the third thing we haven't thought about yet? So this is how we'll be seeking the opportunities that can create the best possible pre-K-12 journey for our students and to create a system that best supports that. So thank you to our superintendents and administrations that are working hard on all of that, and good luck with all of that. And, and we are glad that we were able to come up with some questions that can help guide that work for you and be the frame of reference for us.
All right, that was the hearing portion of Article 2. Is there anything that anyone would like to discuss about that? No comments. Seeing nothing, let us move to accept the reports as presented. All those in favor of accepting the reports of the Unified Union School District number 51 officers and the Board of School Directors, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, nay. There being no nays, Article 2 is adopted. Or, I should say, reports are adopted. Article 3, to determine and approve compensation, if any, to be paid to the treasurer of the district. Is there a motion in this regard? Ms. Gleason?
Yes, I will make the motion that
Given that Kathy Barron and the CCSU treasurer is an employee of the district, I move that the compensation for the treasurer be set in the amount of $0.
Is there a second? Mr. King seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing no discussion, let's move to a vote. All those in favor of setting the compensation of the treasurer for the Unified Union District at 0, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Article 3, setting the compensation at 0, is adopted. Article 4, shall the Unified Union School District number 51 hold its 2017 annual meeting on Monday, April 10th at 7 p.m. to transact business not involving Australian ballot, and upon completion of such business, said meeting is to be adjourned and reconvened in the respective polling places on Tuesday, April 11th from 7 a.m. through 7 p.m. to transact any business involving voting by Australian ballot. I will entertain a motion in regards to Article 4.
I make that motion.
All right. Ms. Gleason moves Article 4 is warned. Second?
Second. Oh, sorry.
All right, Ms. Heath. And second the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting Article 4, shall the Unified Union School District number 51 hold its 2017 annual meeting on Monday, April 10th at 7 p.m. to transact business not involving Australian ballot, and upon completion of such business, said meeting is to be adjourned and reconvened in the respective polling places on Tuesday, April 11th from 7 a.m. through 7 p.m. to transact any business involving voting by Australian ballot. Please do so by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. With no dissent, Article 4 is adopted as warned. Article 5, to authorize the Unified Union School District number 51 to borrow money pending receipt of payments from the State Education Fund by the issuance of its notes or orders payable not later than 1 year from date, provided, however, that the district is authorized by Vermont statutes to borrow sufficient funds to meet pending obligations. Is there a motion in regards to Article 5?
I'll make such a motion.
All right. Mr. Roy moves Article 5 as warned. Is there a second? Second. All right. Ms. Clemens seconds the motion. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of adopting Article 5 to authorize the Unified Union School District number 51 to borrow money pending receipt of payments from the State Education Fund by the issuance of its notes or orders payable not later than 1 year from date, provided, however, that the district is authorized by Vermont statutes to borrow sufficient funds to meet pending obligations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Without dissent, Article 5 is warned. Moving on to consider Article 6, to determine and approve compensation, if any, to be paid to the school board directors. Is there a motion in this regard? Yes, sir. Please rise and state your name.
Ryan Donahue.
I'm sorry. I apologize. All right, Mr. Donahue. There's so many of them.
I move pursuant to 16 DSA Section 562 that the Unified Union District pay its members of the Board of School Directors an annual salary of $1,000 for each member, and an additional $500 for the chair.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right. Mr. Kinney seconds. So the motion on the floor is to pay each of the directors $1,000 with an additional compensation of $500 for the chair on an annual basis. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those who are in favor of compensating the school directors in the amount of $1,000 each with an additional $500 annually to the chair of the board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Without dissent, Article 6 sets the compensation as $1,000 per year for all members of the board with an additional $500 for the chair. Moving on to Article 7, Shall the voters of Unified Union School District Number 51, pursuant to the provisions of 16 VSA, Section 563.10 and 11 subsection C, authorize the Board of Schools to provide mail notice to residents of the availability of the annual report and proposed school budget in lieu of distributing the annual report and proposed budget? Is there a motion?
So moved.
All right, Ms. Heath moves Article 7 is warned. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Ms. Subin seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those who support that the voters of the Unified Union School District Number 51, pursuant to the provisions of 16 VSA Section 563.10 and 11 subsection C, authorize the Board of Schools to provide mail notice to residents of the availability of the annual report and proposed school budget in lieu of distributing the annual report and proposed budget, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Without dissent, Article 7 is adopted as warned. Article 8, to transact any other school business thought proper when met. Is there any other business that anybody thinks proper? Bring up this moment. Motions to triple the compensation of the superintendent. All right,
the
well, in that case, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made.
Mr. Roy jumps up. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gleason. That is not debatable, so all those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those nay?
Abstention.
Those opposed, nay. Meeting adjourned.